Listen, if I can go back and tell myself one thing, it would be don't get married. Run, bitch. Run fast. Stupid. That was dumb. We don't need to get married. Women in 2026, we don't need to get married. We can make money. And I feel for the propaganda. I'm not going to lie. Desiring marriage will be forever the biggest scam I ever fell for.
I'm trying to figure out what the propaganda is because we didn't really, I don't feel like we really grew up in a culture that was shoving marriage down women's throats. I mean, we grew up in a feminist era where I think women oftentimes actually challenged marriage, were quick to challenge traditional gender roles. So I'm not exactly sure what propaganda she's referring to now. She means like these different romance dating shows or these different, TikTok relationships, then okay, that's fair. But like, we have to stop pretending that America is like some crazy conservative country where women are, covered up from head to toe and have to get married by the time they're 13 because they have an arranged marriage. We don't exist in that culture. We exist in a culture that have had the likes of like Gloria Steinem and Bell Hooks and, feminist backing across pretty much all aspects of society and in education actively oppose, question marriage. Now, yes, there are still people who were living more conservatively or traditionally, but like if a woman didn't want to get married, if a woman has not wanted to get married, there's been plenty of avenues for her to not do it. And there's been a lot of support for her to not do it. So that's why I'm just like, propaganda, what do you mean?
My entire life. Okay? I would have still had my baby, but I wouldn't have got married.
Yeah, okay, see, and that's the problem. That is precisely the problem. Now, I'm not taking away from her experience. Maybe she had a very traumatizing, toxic, abusive experience. Maybe she did. But how many videos of women have I shown just on this channel alone? Single mothers who have gone online crashing out, literally crashing out, saying how they regret having kids, saying how they regret motherhood, saying how they hate motherhood because they're single mothers. We have to stop acting like being a single mom is more preferential than being a married woman. It's not. Now, in those cases where you like marry a nutbag, yeah, if you marry someone who's insane and a criminal, then yeah, that's not going to be good. But like, we can't act like that's a norm and that's automatically going to happen, that you're automatically going to marry someone and they are crazy and insane. It's not necessarily. So I hate how we fear monger around marriage, but then we want to pretend like being the single mother is something safe and healthy when it's literally failing Black women. It's destroying Black women to this day. And partially the reason why I think women don't even know how to choose a good husband when it comes time to it is because there's been generations of single mothers. There's been generations where they haven't seen families or haven't seen marriage. So they actually don't know how to choose. They're getting into these marriages and they don't know how to choose. They don't have the skill set. They haven't been to the vetting process. They don't even have anybody there who could help them vet. And so they get in these marriages and they blow up in their face and they think marriage is a problem. And it's like, no, marriage is not the problem. You just weren't given the tools, the skill set, or even the wherewithal to know how to choose. That is, knowing how to choose, knowing who to choose is equally as important as the marriage itself. But we can't say that marriage is bad. It's like, no, marriage is actually beautiful and it's crucial, particularly for the kid, I think, to grow up in a stable environment. But you have to know how to, like I said, you have to know how to navigate it.
I would have just kept it at that. I would have been a baby mama. I would have gladly signed up to be a baby mama. There's no benefits. There's no benefits. Second thing, I would tell myself, don't quit your job, you dumbass. Dare I say, you will not know who you're married to until you become financially dependent on them. That is when you'll really see. Okay? Stupid. And people try to warn me like, oh, you sure? My baby was in a NICU for 26 days. I got married when my baby was in a NICU. He knew what he was doing.
Why did you get married while your baby was in a NICU? That isn't... See, now that's what I'm saying. When I hear women who are just like, oh, marriage is horrible, women don't need to get married, etc., etc. But then you start to kind of hear the story. It's like, oh, no, it's not that marriage is bad. It's just that the marriage that you were in was that, or that perhaps which you chose. Because I'm like, you got married while your baby was in the NICU. Why? Was there a place of desperation? Were you looking to get out of a scenario you were in? Did you want to be taken care of financially? Like, all these things matter. And if those are the motives to you getting married, well, of course, that could end up leading to something really bad.
He knew I was gonna be out of there. I wasn't even in the mental space to get married.
She said she wasn't even in the mental space to get married. So then why did you get married? And here's the thing about it. Did you not tell anybody? It sounds as if this was almost rushed. I mean, she's not saying that, but one can assume, was this rush? Was this a last minute thing? Did you not have a mom or a dad or a father or a grandfather or grandma or someone in your life who could be like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Why? Have you gone through the steps? Have you even considered premarital? Have you done anything to kind of make sure you guys have the aligned values that you're ready? Like, so if you just went up and got married and you didn't go through any of the proper steps or anything to just kind of even vet, then again, the issue isn't marriage itself. It's your marriage, or it's what was going on there.
Stupid. Divorce is so expensive. It's so expensive. By the grace of God, I was able to get a job right out of this marriage after not working for 5 years. That was nothing but God. That's how I knew God was on my side. That was crazy. Will I say, being married and leaving my husband has been the closest to me feeling like my life was possibly in danger. That was wild. These men are crazy. They are absolutely insane.
I would like to know his side of the story, and I would like to know what's going on. I'm not saying that what she said is untrue. She could be telling the whole truth, but there's another side that we need to learn, or we need to know about, because there's no situation in which a marriage falls apart because 100% of the person is insane and the other person is an angel. It does not work like that. And if she even said she was not in the mental space to be married, then that leads me to believe that she wasn't able to maybe effectively be a wife in the way that she could have been in the marriage, if she even admitted to not having the right mind state. And even the way that it happened, it just, there's a lot of missing pieces of it, but some of the details she has shown is problematic. So it's like, okay, if that's the case, then it's not surprising that you may have ran into some issues.
When you marry them, not all of them, maybe y'all fucking found a unicorn. Before y'all get in my comments tussling, maybe you found a unicorn. And if you did, thank God. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 5 years, okay? 5 years. I have a husband who some people would say is rich or has money, okay? I will also say that I have had the pleasure and experience of hanging out and having married friends who were also stay-at-home moms. Behind all different races and backgrounds, and there's very few of us out there that aren't fucking drowning. Going back to work, I welcomed it. It was my pleasure to be here. Stupidest shit I ever did.
And drowning in what? In misery, in diapers, and, you know, I don't know, car schedules. Drowning in what? It's really vague. So that leaves a lot of room for interpretation. There's so much about the story that we don't know. Some people just don't want to be wives. They want a marriage. They want their bills paid. They want a sense of financial security. They don't want to be wives. They don't want to go through that process. That's some people. I don't know her situation, because she's not really saying much. She's just painting a picture as if her husband is crazy and insane and that she's the victim. That a lot of women do that. It doesn't mean that's necessarily true. But I will say, like, again, we have to get out of pretending like marriage is the worst thing ever. It's not. Like, marriage is one of the oldest institutions to date. It is a beautiful thing. It is a powerful thing. And it's essentially what has created and kept communities bonded for forever. The issue that's going on right now is not marriage. It's not marriage itself or marriage inherently. It's the kind of marriages that people are choosing. I mentioned before, I don't even think a person should get married unless they have spiritual convictions to do so. Because in this secular society where it's not a marriage culture, It's not a culture that really actively supports marriage. It's very individualistic. There's a lot of monetary incentive. There's a lot of all of these different risks associated with it. Like, I don't think a person should even get married unless they have a spiritual conviction that would give them a sense of reverence to where they wouldn't just get into it flippantly and they wouldn't try to use it to abuse somebody else. Outside of that, it does come with a lot of risk, but it doesn't mean that it's not powerful, that it's not beautiful. I think it is an amazing thing, but I think women have to really ask themselves, just to be ensured that they're not so idolizing the wedding as much as they are the marriage, because the wedding is one thing, the marriage is ongoing, and the wedding is oftentimes what people see online, but the marriage is oftentimes what they don't get. And if you're not prepared for that, and you're not willing to be prepared for that, then it can cause a lot of problems. And then if you're not even willing to go through the process to ensure that you're choosing something good or healthy, that can cause even more problems. Anyways, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.